Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very well-respected professional and a coach from Dallas, Texas, USA, Pradeepa Narayanaswamy. Pradeepa, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ashutosh. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Thank you. Pradeepa is a diamond miner in her own words, diamond mining coach. She helps high-performing leaders uncover their untapped brilliance, elevate their influence, and lead with clarity, courage, and authenticity. She's a 3-time author, and all of you know I'm very partial to authors. Her latest book is titled Practical Leadership, Simplifying the Complexity. So Pradeepa, before we talk about diamond mining, tell me about your journey and what was the pivotal moment that led you to become a coach?
I love that question. For that, I have to rewind us back to 2010. I actually started my career in technology as a technologist in 1999, 2000 with Infosys back in India. And I continued my journey on being a technologist. In 2010, I'll fast forward to 2010. I was part of an organization. I was new to the team, part of a really big program. I was a testing specialist back then, and testing, was joining the organization and the team for that in that capacity. What I didn't realize, Ashutosh, is that specific team that I was joining, we were part of like a huge program, about 18 teams across the globe. And my team was the most disliked team.
Wow.
Everybody in the program. I didn't know that. I joined the team. Nobody wanted to talk to us. Nobody wanted to work with us. They wanted to avoid us like plague. That's how it was. And we had some really strong personalities in the team, and, characters that displayed not great professionalism in a work environment. All those contributed to that dislike. 6 months of me joining, and I didn't join as a coach or anything like that. 6 months of me joining, one of the other team member, another leader from another team, called me aside and said, like, Pradeepa, I don't know if you noticed this or not, ever since you joined, by the way, the name of my team was Loki, L-O-K-I, So probably it was an apt name for us back then.
Yeah.
And after you joined the team, it's night and day. It was night and now it's day. We actually now want to work with you all. And you seem to have some kind of a special power turning the team around. And it was a gentleman, he used a word called team whisperer back then. I didn't understand that terminology. I was not familiar with that phrase.
Yeah.
What I understood was it came from horse whispering. So I was being called a team whisperer, and that's the starting of the pivot for my, being a technologist and a technical team member to, hey, do you want to do this? You seem to have a knack for this. We call this a coach, and do you want to coach your team? And they gave me a couple of teams, and then that's where my coaching journey started. Team of teams, smaller programs, larger programs, and then organizations.
Oh, amazing. And as they say, the rest is history.
Yes, rest is history.
Fantastic. Pradeepa, you describe your work as mining for diamonds. Yes. When did you first realize this metaphor captured your mission?
I read this wonderful book by Steve Chandler named Reinventing Yourself 4 years ago. And I follow his work to the core. Steve Chandler is a master coach, and he has done some amazing work in the coaching profession. And he has written, more than like 35, 40 books. And to this day, I've read a lot of his books, but Reinventing Yourself was one of my favorite. Like I wrote a lot on the book, like when a book is read, like really read, how that is, right?
Correct.
So it's one of those books. In one chapter, Steve talked about there was a line where he talked about, if you are looking for diamonds, all you will find is diamonds. If you are looking for dirt, all you're going to find is dirt. I'm not remembering the context of that chapter, but for some reason that line, that kind of like went so deeply into me, and it really changed the way that I started interacting with another human being from there on. And I realized the power that each and every one of us has, and where we focus is what we are going to see. What we wanted to focus on is what we are going to get. How we want to experience somebody is how we are going to experience them. Right. If I'm experiencing our conversation as the most delightful conversation, that's how I will always remember this conversation. If I remember this conversation as like, oh my God, one of the most worst, dreadful, why am I here type of a conversation, that's how it's going to register in my mind. So ever since I read that book and ever since that line, I said, like, you know what? I'm actually going to be looking for diamonds in everyone I interact. To this date, I try my best to do that. And metaphorically speaking, I have a physical, a representation of always looking for diamonds. And it's always in my pen stand right here in front of me. That reminds me to, ground myself and say like, hey, what's the diamond, this person, what's the diamond that I can find within this person in this conversation? So that's the point.
Fascinating. And that's definitely a first for me to have seen heard the word diamond mining as a coach. But, what is the process you follow when you start identifying the diamond or diamonds in a person?
There is no like a playbook or a blue book or here are the 5 steps to my, I don't have any of that. I have evolved myself into a coach where what I have learned is the best way to look for diamonds is to be truly present with somebody without any agenda in my mind. When I go into a coaching session or when I go into a conversation with somebody, I'm going to be curious, but I don't have any pre-agenda. Here are the 5 things. No, I don't have that. Because when I'm clear over here, then I'm being completely present and I'm not preoccupied with what questions I should ask, or here is a great question I want to ask. I really wanted to see what is evolving out of that conversation and that interaction. And I just go with the flow. And to me, that's the best way to start identifying the diamonds, because when I'm present with somebody, I can see them for more than what they are just saying.
Well said. And what are some of the common layers of dirt that obscure a person's brilliance?
Love that question. Oftentimes, the big ones that I have seen in my journey so far, working with various hundreds of professionals, is confidence is a big one. A lot of people start thinking that they have to have confidence to achieve anything they want, to go after the goal. That's one really big one. The other one is it's kind of it's encompassed, but I'm going to call it communication. Effectively, how to really effectively communicate, depending upon the people, depending upon the circumstances. So different people have challenges around that, expressing themselves. And the other one, which is really close to my heart, is people that I encounter do brilliant work. They're very, very, amazing at who they are and what they do, but not wanting to share that, right? Like, what is the work that I do, why it matters, and talking about and being a stand for the work. So those are some big ones that I continue to see.
Yeah. Well said. But you also mentioned fear, shame, and judgment as blockers.
Yes.
How do you help people negotiate these? And these are very, very common ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Fear comes because people don't want it to fail. And that's especially when I'm working with especially this I see this, especially working with South Asian professionals. Fear of failure is a common thing. People don't want to fail because people feel they're being judged for failing on something. And that's something that we've been brought up with, and our society has put on a lot of pressure towards always being successful or successful in the eyes of somebody, and living up to not just their own expectations, other people's expectations, which is also huge. So like I said, there is no one formula, but these are all the layers that kind of start showing up. But what I have come to realize is when people understand the brilliance they have has more power, the diamonds they have has more power, and really focusing on how do I enhance that? Because oftentimes, Ashutosh, what we do is, especially in coaching, I see this quite common. Even when I see diamonds and articulate the diamonds and reflect the diamonds back to the people, they are always interested in knowing their dirt. Tell me what problems I have. Tell me what are all the things that I need. Oh, this is good, Pradeepa, but tell me the not so good things. People are so focused on always the dirt. Right? And my responsibility is to, yes, there are opportunities there, we'll get to that, but let's also focus on some of the amazing things that you already have, that you already possess.
Correct.
And it's a dance that I have to do with. It doesn't matter, Ashutosh. I work with senior executives to somebody who is somewhat newer in their professional career. It doesn't matter who I talk to, who I work with. A lot of people want to know, what are my problems? What are my opportunities? And when we are always focusing on that, that also comes from the place of, I always have to fix something for myself. You don't have to always fix. Let's work on something that you already have so beautifully going. Let's amplify that.
Well said. Your work also blends personal growth with leadership development. Why is this integration crucial in your opinion?
Love that question. I'll just give you one example here, Ashutosh, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
So, I run what I call the top leadership school, leadership development school. And different types of students. I've run it I've run it multiple times, but calling it a school, I've run it 3 times last 3 years. Next year will be my 4th school. And one thing that I have realized as part of running the school, even though it's leadership development school, different students come in for different reasons. Some people it's aimed at professionals for career growth and leadership development, enhancing their skills, all those good stuff. One student from last cohort, and he said, like, Pradeepa, the reason why I'm joining your school is I want to enhance my personal relationship with my teenage son. That's the reason I want to be a better leader at home. That's the reason I'm joining this school.
Wow.
And why I want to say that is leadership starts within the 4 walls of our home. We cannot be a good leader inside our home, no matter what we learn, what skills we, certifications, coaching, school, whatever we do, we cannot be a better leader outside. So the blend, there is no blend. It's integrated. That's how I see it, right?
Very
like how you show up at home is how you show up outside. How you lead at home is how you lead outside. You cannot be a different persona outside and somebody else inside.
Correct. Great response. What role does vulnerability play in mining for diamonds?
I am a big believer in role modeling, what I teach and what I coach. If I haven't done anything myself, there is no way I can talk about that to my clients and show that. So whenever I have my school or my coaching session or running my retreat or any interaction, I will bring myself 100%. I will share my stories. I will share my failures, where I really fell down, fell hard, where I was fearful, where I was being judgmental about myself and others, where I was continuing to see the dirt in me. And if I'm not able, and that's the best way to connect with somebody. People want to connect with you. People wanted to know that I'm also a human, right? I'm not just,
Right.
my relationship with anybody that I'm working with is not hierarchical. I always use this, like you and I are the same here. My growth journey might have been different. I may be at a different place in my journey, but there is no hierarchy between you and I. The way that I work with anybody is, how can I connect with this person to the best of my ability?
Right.
The way I can connect is through talking about my own journey, my own experiences. If I'm not vulnerable enough to be with my clients and share stories with them, how can I expect them to be vulnerable?
Right.
I have to model it.
Well said. Two more questions relating to coaching, and then a few questions for you about your latest book. How do you help high performers go from good to truly great without burning out?
It is about first step. One of the biggest learnings that all the students and all my clients have, the first learning is awareness. Burnout is a result of not being aware of something that's going on and just continue to push through. I don't teach tactics, Ashutosh. I don't teach strategies. There are so many books out there, so many things that you can pick up. What I teach my students is how to really be aware of who they are, how are they showing up, who are they being, not what are they doing. Who they are being is going to reflect on what they're doing and the results they're getting. Even if they're achieving something at the end of it, if they're feeling really tired and stressed and burnt out, that's just a result of who they are being and where they are. So we start with the awareness piece, and that is where I will typically help my clients focus on first.
Well said. Well said. You also said, when something feels off, I look in the mirror first.
Yes.
How has this self-accountability shaped your leadership and impact?
Love that. To me, coaching is a very personalized experience. And I deeply care about everyone I interact. It's to me, it's the rapport, it's the relationship I wanted to have with every one of my students, my clients. And sometimes if a relationship feels, hey, something is not working out, what's going on here? It's easy to blame it on the other person, like, hey, they're doing this. And I realized that pausing myself to see, like, okay, how am I showing up here? I'll give you one quick example to articulate this point. There was a client of mine from a while ago. I have stronger agreements with all my clients. And that one is, a simple one is, when we say we start at this time, we start on time. That's it. And this person continued to be delayed and continued to miss. And I was continuing to give them, and they came up with all sorts of brilliant excuses, Ashutosh. Okay, and these are like real brilliant excuses, real excuses. But then I realized, I had options. One is, hey, here is what we've agreed upon. You're continuing to, not honor these agreements. It's better not for us to work together. I can do that. I can say, like, let's end our agreement. The other way that what I wanted to do was, okay, what is missing in this relationship that this person is continuing to be late for our conversation.
Hmm.
I looked into the mirror and realized, and of course I have my own coach too, which he also helps me look into my mirror and helps me with my blind spot. What I realized is what I thought I'm agreeing upon and what he thought my client thought is agreeing upon, they are different. That's what I realized. I didn't do a better job of what's that agreement looks like when we say we have to start on time. So I went back to this conversation and had a session just on creating stronger agreements, what it means to be committed to this relationship. And that whole thing really changed how that gentleman started showing up in the future sessions. I could have easily brought my ego and said, like, hey, we agreed, you signed the agreement, I'm here on time, you're not here on time. This is the third time you're doing it. I'm not going to work with you. And I could have gotten my ego here and I could have easily said, like, no, I won't work with you. But what I saw was a beautiful opportunity to help the person and look at the way that I'm showing up. How am I showing up as a coach?
Correct.
How can I step it up from my place so that I can really bring that person along for the journey and recommit them?
Fascinating.
And it started with me.
Fascinating. Pradeepa, let's now talk about your book. I have 2 or 3 questions about your new book, Practical Leadership, Simplifying the Complexity. Tell me about this book and why do you believe leadership has become complex? And how does your book offer clarity?
When the word leadership has become such a buzzword in the industry, in the professional world today.
Yeah.
And when you ask what is leadership to 10 different people, you are going to get 10 different answers based on their experiences. Yeah. So there is no one definition, there is no one size fits all. And the world is so fast moving, fast paced, fast changing. And everybody has become so busy running from meetings to meetings, jumping from this to that and this. And the intentionality behind how do I show up as a better human for other people inside an organization is becoming a lost art. The intentionality is becoming a lost art. Being conscious about how can I show up? How can I show up powerfully? How can I show up as a human? How can I show up as a better leader? How can I show up as an influencer? How can I show up as somebody who is kind and caring and compassionate? Along with I'm skilled and passionate and visionary, all those things. The blend is kind of becoming a lost art or missed opportunities in many places. And people are, because of the busyness, people are feeling stuck. That's another thing. People feeling stuck as to, I don't know how to go about this. Let me read a book. Let me watch this video. Let me try this 5 things. Let me read a blog. They are not working. If all of those were working, then in the world, nobody has to write any more leadership books. Right? So people are making it unnecessary.
Yeah.
I would say unnecessarily. It's becoming more and more complex because we are making it complex here.
Correct.
My book is aimed to solve that, like bringing it back, peeling everything and say, hey, how do I have a difficult conversation? If you just put that on Google, Ashutosh, I promise that you will get like millions, if not multi-million hits.
Absolutely.
Different people have written. But the way that I'm simplifying it is, why do you label the conversation as difficult? Remove the word difficult. I'm just going to have a conversation.
Well said. Pradeep, I have time for one more question for you. And I'm trying to decide what to ask you. But I think what I'm going to ask you is that you talk about clarity, courage, and authenticity. Which of these do leaders struggle with the most and why?
Courage. That's just, to me, I wouldn't say, I'm not going to generalize this, that this is the one, but if I have to answer this for myself, to me, courage is the starting point. I've read this beautiful phrase that I want to share with you and your audience.
Mm-hmm.
Fear is peeing on your pants.
Mm-hmm.
Courage is doing what you need to do in peed pants or skirts.
Amazing.
Yeah. So if courage is going through it. Courage is not the absence of fear.
Mm-hmm.
People often mistake that. I'm still fearful, and I know I'm not sure how this is going to go, yet I'm going to go through that.
Mm.
And when I take those steps, I'm automatically not worrying too much about what other people are going to think or say or whatever that is. That kind of brings in the authenticity and being authentic along for the ride. And clarity only will evolve if you take steps. You're not going to sit here and meditate and waiting for clarity to come. You do have to do certain things, and automatically clarity will come as part of going through that journey.
Correct. Well said. And on that note, Pradeepa, I just want to say thank you for this absolutely amazing conversation about mining for diamonds and human beings. I think you've been so clear and cogent about what you look for in people when you talk to them, how you support them to really bring out their diamonds, and how you help people to clear the layers of dirt that all of us live through. Thank you also for speaking to me about your book, Practical Leadership, Simplifying the Complexity. Thank you again for speaking to me, and good luck.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. Really, really appreciate the conversation and your thoughtful questions today.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.